Hi everyone. Welcome to Blackboard DevStories. This is our fourth episode. So DevStories is where we spotlight remarkable journeys in tech and innovation. And today we'll be joined by Amen Gemeda, a software engineer at AWS. Welcome, Amen.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. I will not introduce you. I think you'll do a better job introducing yourself. So I guess we can start from the top. You can tell us a bit about yourself and your journey into software engineering.
Yeah. So as you said, my name is Amen. Amen Tamena. I'm a software engineer now at AWS, and I'm originally from Ethiopia. I studied computer science and informatics in Kenya at Strathmore University. I graduated in July 2023, and then I started working at AWS in uh, December 2023. Yeah. So my journey in computer science is a bit interesting. Actually, was enrolled in med school back in my country before I got scholarship to study at Strathmore through a maths contest. So Strathmore came in Ethiopia in 2019, and I had a maths contest for full scholarship. And I was doing medicine back then. Like I had been in med school for 8 months, I guess. Yeah, by the time that I got the full scholarship to join Strathmore. I didn't know what I wanted to join. I mean, I didn't know what to pursue after joining Strathmore, but then I knew I wanted to run away from mid school. So just jumped on the opportunity, joined Strathmore, and then I remember the guy from admission office was saying, so computer science is all about doing a maths on the side and just writing that maths on the computer. and I used to enjoy maths. So I was like, okay, that could actually work. Though I didn't know I would still end up liking it. But another compelling reason was that uh, med school is for 7 years, and computer science is for 4 years. So another compelling reason was that if I don't like computer science, I will only suffer for 4 years, and then I can get the degree, and then shift, try to do something else. Yeah, so that's how I ended up joining computer science. And then to say less, it was an interesting journey. um, I got to do a lot of things, got to be part of some startups, a bit of research. Maybe we can talk more about them halfway through. But yeah, and then graduated from Strathmore in 2023. Now I'm a software engineer. Yeah, that is basically my journey in campus, or how I ended up joining computer science and all those things. Yeah.
It almost sounds like a movie.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I know you've managed to work on several opportunities other than joining Strathmore and moving countries to come and do your degree here. Um, I know you've had opportunities for remote jobs. You've also co-founded Karata, which we had Levi, now the founder, um, talk in episode 2. And I know you guys were doing, you specifically, I mean, working on all these opportunities, or utilizing all these opportunities that you had while you were still in school. Um, could you tell us a bit about how you balanced work, academics, personal growth, career growth, and everything in between?
Yeah. Mm, yeah, that's a good question. So here's the thing, right? Like, when I joined Strathmore, like I traveled to Kenya on a Sunday, and then the first day at Strathmore was on Monday. So, and then I withdrew from mid school on Friday. So withdrew on Friday, like got my things together on Saturday, flew to Kenya on Sunday, and then started class on Monday. Like not class, but yeah, the very first class. So I was straight out from mid school, and I remember the first class that I had in Strathmore was computer fundamentals, and then the lecturer was asking questions, and everyone was raising their hands. Like I was like, okay, maybe I missed some classes. How is this possible? But yeah, I was like that. I was fresh out of mid school and trying to study computer science. So that kind of sparked a curiosity in my mind, right? So I was like, okay, what is computer science now? And what can I do? Well, like, what can I do in the computer science field? So yeah, that's basically where the curiosity came from. And I yeah, the first year, I guess, I was mainly trying to understand the computer science, what is coding, and all those things. And then the pandemic happened, I think, at the end of first year. So that kind of gave us a 3 months break, uh, where I started like doing a lot of coding exercises. Like I had some good friends like Levi, and another co of Karata, who is Arnold. So we said, let's work on a project to learn how to code. So I remember the first project that we worked on, host it's called Hostel Lit. It's no longer there. It's basically trying to set up a hostel management system, and people can book for hostels. Now it's a project every beginner does. So basically, that's what that's what we did as well. Especially if you're on campus, yeah, that's what you'll do. And yeah, that's how I started doing the programming part, working on projects with friends. And then second year passes on. Strathmore had some amazing opportunities. Like one was, there was a mentorship program by Microsoft, which yeah, like my team actually won, a team of 5. So programming were there, and then there was some opportunities from the university which I had to like capitalize on, and were giving me some exposures. And then third year, yeah, Levi and Arnold had already started working on karate, and they had made some progress. And then Levi told me, "Why don't you join karate?" And I was like, "Okay, fine." Karate was at its like baby step at that time, and then so I joined them later on after they started it, and after they made like it was hosted and all those things. So I was like, okay, let me join them. I joined and did some programming there, working on it from the scratch. I remember the laugh we used to have with Levi, especially when we were coding. We launched Karata on very limited resource. So every code that we used to push, we were so careful about it, and because our the resource would be like depleted quickly. So anyway, yeah, that's how I joined Karata and then worked on that as well. What else? Um, got a chance to work on some software for my university, Strathmore. Again, like it again, I go back to the opportunities that were provided by the university. We saw with my friend called Jaffa. So we saw a gap where like people could not give feedback easily. So we suggested, we can actually build a feedback giving system using QR code, which is much easier. And yeah, so and that is one of the projects that I worked on for Strat along with Jaffa. And then there were others as well. So yeah, that is basically projects that I worked on, and then startup again with Levi and Arnold, same group with more people now. Susan, we started a software development company called Photobyte, which actually worked on the gift shop platform for Strathmore University. And so I was basically part of two startups, like the Photobyte software development company in Karata, and then worked on some softwares for my university, and then did a bit of research again. Like as I told you, I came out of from med school. I was trying to explore every aspect of what computer science can provide. So I did a bit of research. um, so I co-authored and published a research paper on IEEE. It is basically it's basically how to gather COVID-19 screening data using IoT and face recognition, basically. And I don't exactly remember the full name of the paper, but I can share later on. But yeah, worked on that research paper. It's now published with, it's published on IEEE. What else, I guess? And then again, some other projects. And yeah, another thing is I worked on yeah, so I used to do remote jobs when I was in campus, mainly on as I used to tutor maths, since I like maths. I was not kind of taking me some time, but yeah, when you're in campus you need some money, pocket money, or I don't know, whatever you call it. It's not pocket, but yeah. So and then like if you have a computer and Wi-Fi at your own convenience, then you can actually like do this kind of job. So I was tutoring maths as well, uh, and then I started with tutoring maths. Then afterwards, I for the school that I used to tutor, I told them I'm actually a tech person, so I took over the. It's a virtual school, so I took over the tech. Like o- organization and all those things. So I was the tech lead there, and yeah, those are the things that I did. Sound it sounds a lot of things, but I guess how was I managing it? That was the second part of the question you asked me. Um, Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So, like to be honest, there would be some times where like this could take much of your time, and you end up not having social life for some time. Like it's just it overlaps with your social life, but I guess it's all goes with planning. If you do plan your time well, I used to do planning like I used to try to finish all school related things between 8 and 5. That means it's not like we have a back to back classes throughout the whole day, 8 to 5, but we used to have like 2 hour classes. I mean, 2 hour classes, then 2 hour break, and then another class or something like that. So if we were given any assignment or work, I used to try to like finish it within the 8 to 5 period, and then from 5 and on, I'm no longer a student, so I'm a teacher. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, from 5 and afterwards, I had to do my own thing. So yeah, again, just to summarize it, it all goes with the planning thing. Sometimes your plan won't be perfect, but you sometimes some certain aspect of it might overlap and might take more of your time. But again, as long as you try to your best to achieve the plan, long time. I think just one last thing that I wanted to spot out is, it's like we used to discuss our plans. We used to discuss our plans with Levi and then Arnold. I was like, what's your plan for the month? What's your plan for the week? So that also helps you to keep uh, check and balance thing, right? Check and balance. So, but yeah, it's all about planning, and it's never goes smoothly every time. You just have to keep your trying your best to do your plan. Yeah, that's how it went.
Okay. So 2 points I've got is planning and accountability. And I guess
Yes,
also the third one would be extending grace to yourself because the plan is never bulletproof. Like
exactly.
something will happen and then things will just, yeah.
It's
Anyway,
like it's like an AI model. Like you train yourself. Like how many percent have I complete of out of my plans? 80, 81, 82. Yeah. So
like that's some good performance.
yeah, what is the F1 score and all those things? But yeah, yeah, that's cool. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So I mean, mentioning all these opportunities that you had, did you have like any strategy that you used to use to land these roles while you were a student? Because I don't know, maybe for some students, they say that they try as much as possible to find these opportunities, but they never find them, or the
yeah,
opportunities maybe run away from them. I don't know, but for you, it seems like you were just attracting them. So, was there like a strategy you were using to like get these opportunities, or you knew the people to talk to or the platforms to check?
yeah. Um, I think I'll just mention two things. The first one, okay, the first one is you have to figure out where to look. I think it's not something that you'll figure out immediately. It's something that you'll figure out by trying. But like you need to figure out where to look. Um, so I mean, we are in the internet era, and you can easily search, and you can even ask ChatGPT now, like how can what kind of what are the opportunities that I could uh, like what are the opportunities while I'm in campus or something like that. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, um, like you need to figure out where to look. And for me, I actually, some of these opportunities, people advise me, right? So in Strathmore, there's something called having a mentor, right? And I used to dodge it the first 1 year or two. So yeah, mentor, yeah, you need to, like, I had a mentor, and my mentor used to tell me, so a mentor is someone who's actually much more older than you, who has more experience than you, and they basically try to guide you, like, in your career journey or in your life journey itself. So they usually give you insights that will help you grow in multiple aspects. So I had a mentor. I ignored it the first 1 year or two, and but like afterwards I tried to sync with my mentor, get some insights. Actually, some of the opportunities, the ideas for those opportunities came from my mentor. And another thing is, I was asking myself, like, um, you know, I don't know if this sounds a bit weird or offensive. I don't think it's offensive, but we are in Africa. So if we don't have to look harder, to find a problem. So opportunities come out of a problem. And if you basically even look at your life, just try to take 5 minutes and look at what, like, take a look at the things that have the things that happened in your day, from 8 to 5. Like, I'm sure you might have encountered one or two inconvenience, like, and so it would be like, so I encountered this inconvenience. Why? Because this was missing and this was lacking. So how can I address that? What would have solved that issue? So that way, if there's already something that could solve that issue, cool and fine. If not, that's an opportunity for you to come up with a solution, right? So that is one of the things that I was following, right? For instance, this QR code, um, uh, platform, feedback giving platform that I got a chance to work on, for Strat. Um, I was basically like, feedback. It was not like I wanted to, like, there were a couple of times that I had some feedback to give, but I couldn't do, because the only feedback system that was there was emailing, and you wouldn't expect yourself to go to email and send an email. So yeah, I was like, okay, what if people could just scan a QR code, and they don't have to know where they are, and they can easily report or something, or they can just give a feedback. So that is another thing. So just to summarize the first part, it is basically, you need to know where to look, and in order to do that, first we can, like, have some try to have some mentors or people who can guide you, right? People who have more experience, people who are cool. Never back down from asking a question. It's better to learn from people than learning it from yourself. Sometimes it's better to learn it by yourself, but sometimes it's you don't have to go through what everyone went through to end up learning the same thing. You can easily ask. So you can ask. So yeah, try to get more information from people who have more experience, or try to find people who can guide you. And the other thing is, even yourself, try to see the problems that you have, that are around you, and then try to see how you could address them, right? That's still an opportunity. A problem is equal to an opportunity, as long as you want to solve them. So otherwise, there will be a burden. So that is one thing. Then the other thing is, the second one is, you need to uh, you need to figure out um, the people you are going to surround yourself with. That is something critical, especially in campus, right? um, like, the people around you, like, will have influence on you, like, uh, my friend most of my friends were like Arnold, Levi. I mean, we ended up founding a startup, but and then I had some friends who, like, I had some friends whom I got one or two chance to do a community service with, and like, so anyway, like, I would say I had some pretty good friends around me, so they had a good influence on me, I would say. So that led me to find some opportunities, right? I never really thought of becoming starting like a startup, especially when I was working and I was getting kind of small money. I didn't think of, like, going back and trying to start like a company, because it has its own, you know, back and forth. It requires a lot of effort to find a company. But my friends around me were into that, like entrepreneurs. So I was like, okay, by the way, this is actually solving an issue, and on the long term, this would be very useful, not only for me but for everyone who will end up using it. So that's how I was introduced to entrepreneurship. Like, so I just would say, you need to figure out the people that you're going to surround yourself with, and those are the two places where you would find, at least for me, what worked for me to find these opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. So, from what I've got, there
yeah,
is the aspect of mentorship, which
yeah,
completely makes sense. As you said, like, you don't have to go through all the hurdles other people have gone through, whereas there's someone who's already gone through them and gotten wiser. Um,
yeah,
and they could save you that hassle.
Yeah.
So mentorship is key. Finding problems is key. It's like going to look for problems. You don't want peace, you just want problems to solve every single time.
I want
But
problems.
it makes sense. It makes sense because I think as a student, what really matters is putting yourself out there, because actually not even as a student, in your entire career, what matters is you putting yourself out there, because no one will know if you're creating, uh, another ChatGPT or better
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
If you're just hiding it in your house, like you're just coding it and having it in your house, or just tweaking things alone. It takes, as you say, like good friends, as in people who have even different perspectives from you, because I think that also helps, because as you said, you don't have entrepreneurship is not your stronghold, but
Yeah.
you found friends that enjoy that, and you got to experience it just because your friends have a different perspective, and
Exactly.
it also sort of built up your your portfolio per se.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think those are good nuggets. um yeah, so looking back from your very enriching journey up until now, what was the most challenging part of managing all that you were doing, being a student, working on research, taking remote opportunities, being an entrepreneur? Like, what challenge would you say struck you the most, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. So I think one of I think it's something that we just discussed a few moments ago. It's actually, you know, organizing all those things. You know, when I started okay, when I started have like jumping on these opportunities, at some point there were a lot of them. Like I found myself doing a lot of things, and so something that I mentioned earlier as well, they started overlapping, right? You just find yourself doing something, and then you have to do another thing, and then another thing, and then you seems like you have to save the world, and and like you're like a superman or something like that. But yeah, at some point there were a lot of things, right? And uh, so like managing a time was a bit an issue at the early stage. So coming up with a plan and following it itself was a struggle. So I was like, I found myself doing a lot of things, and which were not working out at some point, and you'd get tired as well. You'd like there would be days that you plan a lot but don't end up doing any of them, and you'd be like, at least I need to do something so that I can feel good for the whole day. So it's in general, I would say like this time management when you have a lot of things to do, and that was like figuring out how to plan even. mm, you plan something, you look at it the first time, it sounds so logical, you try to implement it, doesn't work. So it's yeah, it's basically this time management thing was a bit struggling at the early stage. But then yeah, it sounds funny when I said it's like an AI model which you have to keep training yourself, but that is actually the case. um like you can come up with a plan that sounds very bulletproof and very ideal, but then it doesn't end up being like 100% done, and that might discourage you, and you just, okay, why would I just try, even like, let me just let's just wake up, and then let's just leave, and then sleep, and then wake up, and then do things, and then sleep. Yeah, so it's planning was a bit different, basically, like difficult, basically how to manage all those things. So but yeah, I decided, it doesn't matter if I don't get to accomplish it 100%. I just have to plan. At least I need to have a plan, I need to have a to-do list, and I need to basically make sure that I accomplish those things. And I basically look at my a rate of accomplishment as opposed to whether I accomplished the whole thing. So that was what I was doing, and then eventually figured out. Eventually, my planning model started becoming more accurate, and then I started managing all these things. Uh, yeah, on time, and yeah, so that the planning part was the one that was um, struggling. And then another thing is, um, I wouldn't call it a struggle, but I think it's something that is worth putting a spotlight on. It's when you try something new, you know, people would think that, okay, there are some brilliant people who can understand things quickly, and who can who takes them less time to understand. But that might not be the case. Everyone has their own strong suits, but if you are trying something new, it's not always going to be very straightforward. So you would be frustrated, right? You try to figure out something, and okay, I'll try to mention this, since you're also a developer, you would understand. You know, like sometimes you try to write a code, and then it doesn't work, it frustrates you. And then the same exact code works on other people's laptop, and then you'd be like, it's just at this point, it's just my laptop, or it's just me. And then a friend of yours would come, and then they don't literally do anything, and then it just starts working for some reason. And then you'd be like, okay, I don't know what went wrong, and now I don't know why it started working now. What I'm trying to say is, you'd have some frustration moments every time you try something new, and that is part of learning something new. You may not like get it quickly. uh, when I started when I wrote my first research paper with my friends, I didn't like it. I mean, it is said that developers don't like writing. I used to use that thing, but now that's not the case. But I had to figure out. It's not like only writing, but there's a way you have to write in research paper, things that you have to do.
Mm.
And those are things that I ended up figuring out, and they were new to me at the time that I tried to write my first research paper. And so this is something that I wanted to put a spotlight on. It was not more of a struggle, rather it was something that I saw every time you try to do something new. It it it, it, it might seem a bit very it might seem very difficult, or it might end up frustrating you. But if the goal is to end up learning something new, you should keep pushing. And then you don't have to look at your failures, try to look at your success at learning something new. That keeps you pushing. At least that worked for me. So yeah, those are the two things that I would say. Managing time was one struggle that I had when you do a lot of things. And then the other thing was yeah, the frustration of like trying something new. Not the frustration, but like that moment where it doesn't make sense at all, but you still want to learn something new. So you just have to keep pushing yourself. And then when people ask you, okay, you tell them that I'm trying to learn something new, and then I'm figuring out something new. And then the end of the day, you meet them and they ask you, what did you learn? Like, okay, no, I didn't manage to learn something concrete. So the next day you go back at it. You just have to keep pushing. And those are the two things that I could mention. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I do agree, especially the last one. Oh my goodness. I think as a software engineer, you just have to accept that that's just the way of your life, for as long as you'll be working or learning things, because as an engineer, things are never mundane. I don't think there's any role unless you're doing data entry. I don't know. I don't think anyone in engineering is doing mundane work. So every day you have to learn something new.
Yeah.
And if you're working on a new project, a new feature, a new tool, anything new, it means you have to go back to learn things that you don't know, and that can be frustrating. I think it's always like humbling every time you try to learn something.
Yes.
and you're clueless.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're like, you have so much experience, but still, you're still clueless. So I think it's very humbling,
Yeah.
and um, someone needs like constant reminding that, um, as you say, like you're bound to not know at the beginning. You're not God. You're not any other supernatural being where you have all sorts of knowledge prior to learning anything. So yeah, I guess again, I think it goes back to extending grace to yourself, not forgetting I mean, you're human, and you're also trying to navigate this life together with your career, and
Yes.
giving yourself that grace that with time things will look up. In as much as at that time you're clueless, you just have to psych yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Especially that last one, I really love that advice.
Yeah.
Um, so on to your very prestigious job.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so as you say, you got that opportunity when you were still in school, in uni.
Yeah.
Are there any tips you would give to any aspiring software engineers, whether they're in school or out of school, searching for work, who would want to like join a global tech company, maybe even go abroad? I don't know, like just join a global tech company or any company. Others just probably just want to leave this country. Everyone has their own everyone has their own goals, but yeah, are there like any tips you can give to aspiring software engineers at any level, either in school or they've already graduated and are in the process of finding work?
Yeah. I think uh, I would say you need to figure out what you are looking for. I think that starts with like everything starts with figuring out what you want. Like if you're in the job market looking for a job, what kind of job are you looking for? And that really matters because it's going to determine the things that you have to do to get it. So if you don't have a clear goal or if you don't have a clear idea of what you want to do, the next step of figuring out what to do to get it would be different, like difficult because like what do I have to do what to get what? Like the first step would be figuring out what you want to do, and then if you figure out the job that you're looking for, then I guess you need to do a bit of research to see what that job um, like requires you to have. Most of the time it could be experience, which you can always build by working on a project, your own personal project. Just keep working, try to work on a project and then push it to your GitHub. So your GitHub, I would say, is your um, portfolio as a developer. You can even like you can even like the readme part of your GitHub could be your resume, right? So yeah, I wouldn't recommend, but I would say like on your resume you can, if you have a strong GitHub profile, you can have a resume, your name, and then you just GitHub link. That could work as well. But anyway, it's experience. You don't have to work. I mean, working for a company is cool to get an experience, but you can also build your experience by working on your personal projects. So this is under figuring out what that job requires you to have, so that you can get it. One is, if it requires you to have an experience, try to get that as much as possible. Internships would help, and then like doing your personal projects would help. And another thing is, joining a company, you have to go through an interview process. There are some requirements that like there are some requirements that you have to meet. So you need to look at those requirements for that specific job, and for the interview especially. These big tech companies, the interviews are all about data structures and algorithms. And actually, when I joined I'm a junior developer, so I joined a grad role. and uh, like there's a community called African to Silicon Valley, A2SV. You can search them on LinkedIn. They are very active there. So my plan was initially to join them because they basically take them through a rigorous, at least at the early stage. Now they do a lot of things at the early stage. They take a certain batch through a rigorous data structures, algorithms, and interview questions. Then eventually those people end up getting like opportunities to do internship at these big tech companies. So I started like practicing data structures and algorithms to join that community because they themselves were having some interviews, so that you can join the community. So that, yeah, that is how I started code. Yeah, that's how I started looking at data structures and algorithms. And then I kind of became obsessed because it was very challenging. It was like competitive programming. You just try to solve an issue, and then when you solve it, the happiness would be there. Again, the frustration would be there. There's a guy called Myth Code, where I used to see his solution when I couldn't come up with any solution for the lead code question that I was doing. So yeah, again, this for this big tech company, it's all about data structures and algorithms. You can look at lead code, where you can do where you can solve problems. So again, this is still uh, part of like doing the things that your job requires you, like the job requirement requires you. So experience, as talked about experience, you need to either do internship or try to work for some companies. It's a step-by-step process, right? If you want to end up in a big tech company, you can start like at early stage to do multiple internships. And if you don't get internship, then you can work on your personal project. That is experience wise. Second, most interviews nowadays require you to have data structures and algorithms knowledge. It's all about like how much efficient code you can write. Yeah, it's how efficiently can you write your code. That is all about that. So try to look at the requirements for the job that you're looking for, and then the last part would be apply, and keep applying. So it doesn't hurt, like as long as you have a strong profile. The worst thing that could happen is all of them rejecting you, which is the same as not you applying. So it's, yeah, that's
Worse
the, yeah.
than you not applying.
Exactly. Now, because if you don't apply, you wouldn't know. You would be like, might have gotten the opportunity or not. I don't know. And uncertainty is something that most people don't like, including myself. I want to figure out, like, no, I want to know what would happen. I just want to be sure about that. I guess one of the reasons why I'm doing computer science, if the computer, it's very predictable, right? If you give it a garbage, it gives you a garbage. If you give it something, it's that. Yeah. Anyway, don't have to go to other topics, but yeah, just apply, and then the happiest case, the ideal case, everyone accepts you, and then you try to toggle between offers, or the real case, most of the time you'd get one offer or two, which is cool. So yeah, that is what I would say. Keep applying, and uh, for me, I think it's I would have a plan of going back to my country, like uh, now, because in the IT sector, you don't even have to leave your country at this point, right? You can work remotely, and uh, and then you can leave your country for vacation or something like that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, with the IT sector now, you can literally work from anywhere. Um, but it depends on the job that you get. So try to do those things to get the job that you're looking for. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Um, I hope I'm not cornering you with the next question, but
Mhm.
how has your experience at AWS been so far?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I would say I'm learning something new every time, and again, it's something that you mentioned. um, um, Software development, it's not I mean, you may have some experience, but it's not something that you just memorize and then you get done with it. Every day it's a new experience, and that actually makes it interesting for me. Keep learning something new. I keep learning from more experienced developers. Again, something that I really like about, because, like, again, as I said, like, you learn by yourself and then you learn by looking at others. So yeah, I would say two things. One, learning something new every time. Even though learning new things have their own, paths, you don't figure out things quickly, but you learn them, which is nice, which keeps me motivated to go back to work the next day. And the other thing is, uh, yeah, I'm learning from other people. Like, I'm learning from other people, and which is, a continuous growth. It's not a stagnant growth. I'm still a junior developer, as I said. So at the early stage, you need to have a lot of exposures and need to learn a lot, so that you get get to the point that you want to find yourself. So yeah, those two things I would say. Those are my experience, and that's how you swerve from the corner. No, no, I'm just saying. But yeah, that is okay.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a smart move, but I think you were speaking the truth.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Uh, yeah. Um, so yeah, to wrap it up, if you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to leave anyone who'd be watching this, um, please do. Or if you want to say anything random, anything, whether it's funny, whether it's wise. Anyway, yeah, the floor is yours now. You can share your nuggets of wisdom if you have any.
Now, if I don't share any wisdom, that means I don't have any. So it's just,
No,
I'll just.
we'll take what you've given us so far. I mean, you've been talking for the last 40 something minutes. We
Oh,
we
okay,
definitely
okay.
learned.
I was just joking. I'd say, uh, keep supporting Manchester United. That's one thing. And but the other thing is, I would say, try to figure out what you want to do next. Um, yeah. So try to figure out what you want to do next. That's something that is very important, like, not only in the tech sector, or like basically in your day-to-day activity. So what am I going to do next after this meeting? I think, uh, oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do, or like, after tomorrow? This actually shapes where you'll find yourself in the next one day, or a week, or a month, or a year, or 5 years, 10 years. It goes like that. So you need to figure out what you want to do next, and then once figuring it out, you need to align. You need to align it with your long-term or short-term plan. So those are two very important things. Figure out what you want to do next, and then make sure they are aligned with where you want to find yourself in the next. Just fill out the period. So yeah, those are, now that's the wisdom, I guess. Next to supporting Manchester United. Yeah,
Oh, thank you so much,
yeah,
and thank you also for gracing us with this chance to have a chat with you. Um, yeah, I think personally I have learned a lot, and I will be putting that wisdom into good use. I don't think the first one, I might have a problem with that one, but I think someone else somewhere will help execute that.
yeah.
But yeah, um, yeah, everyone else, thank you for joining us, and have a lovely night or day depending on what time zone you are on. And make sure to join us next week for our second episode of Blackboard Deep Dives. Bye bye and cheers.